Good Saturday morning, everyone. This is Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And I'm Greg Malinzuk, and Bob Wiltman is back from his vacation.
Long time. It's been a long time, and
we missed you.
Well, I don't know if you missed me because I heard the shows, and they all sounded fantastic. Sounded like everybody seemed, for some reason, everybody seemed a lot happier in my absence. So
that's not true.
Oh no, you can.
We were all putting on a brave face.
I thought it was a happy face.
But I did. I do want to thank Randy Van Alstine for last week.
Oh my goodness! Great job.
Who set up the guest Rich
Coach
Billings.
Yes,
he was a lot of fun.
Outstanding. What a great guy to have as a guest. He was outstanding.
Right.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Well, like I said, with all the excitement over the week, the first thing I think we ought to talk about, and I'll get it over with briefly, but Always Dreaming is going for the second leg of the fabulous Triple Crown.
Right.
Is that? I always wondered which one of the three would you like to stake your money on in terms of viewership? Because wouldn't it be if the same horse wins the first two, everybody and their brother is going to watch the third one,
right?
The Belmont Stakes. However, if two different horses win the first two, probably nobody, unless they're a real horse fan, is going to pay any attention.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens to Always Dreaming. But if he wins today, then you've got
today's the Preakness, right?
Today's the Preakness. Yes.
So
you
got the is that Baltimore?
Pimlico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maryland?
Yeah, I think the Belmont is...
Belmont's New York.
Newark. Yeah. So, I believe you're right. Maryland.
Okay.
Maryland. I don't know if it's Baltimore per se,
Okay.
but it's Maryland.
Right.
Yeah. So the Preakness is in Maryland, and it should be interesting. Like I said, I like horses, but I'm not a worldly horse person in the terms of knowing who's going to do what and who's a mutter who isn't. But obviously, Always Dreaming was.
Reminds me of Seinfeld when you say mutter.
Yeah. That's right. But
his father was a mutter.
It'll be interesting to see because the hype will kick in if Always Dreaming wins this one, and which is fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a Triple Crowner. I mean, that's great. I'm all for it.
It's a shame that it's only like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah. I mean, they build up. I was watching a bit of the Kentucky Derby, and it was like 4 hours of build up to this 3-minute race. And I was like, but I look at it a little differently because there's a lot of friends. They wind up getting together and they do the mint juleps and all that stuff.
Absolutely,
so it's actually a good time to be with your friends and stuff.
So it's a great. I think it's
the build up.
There's no better party situation in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you stand there and yell at the TV for 3 days or 3 hours, 3 minutes. I should
Right.
say, hey, come on, Seabiscuit, and then we lost. Have a drink.
You would think the millennials would really, with their 3-minute attention span, that this would be their favorite sport.
That little jab, but I like that jab at the millennials. Good for you.
Thank you.
And remember that millennials out there. That was Greg Malinzuk.
Yeah, and
call me and I'll give you his email.
It's 352-315-1410.
But no, that's like I said. I just think that's this is the time of year when that's the biggest deal going, and you got your Kentucky Derby winner, and now it's in place. Everything's in place. The hype for the second one. Luckily, he didn't get hurt. I think last year or 2 years ago or something. The guy that won the first one, everybody said he was going to win it all, and then he broke his ankle, or I can't remember. I just remember that it was a real drop off in attention to the sport because of that. But let's, like I said, I don't want to start off with rants, but I probably will. And we talked a little bit off the air on the way over here, but you tell me, where do you want to lead with this? Because I can go to ESPN.
You go ahead.
I'm going to ESPN.
All right.
And I'm going to. If I hear one more person tell me about poor Colin Kaepernick, I'm willing to leave it drop, but I'm getting mad.
Right.
Because this guy, to say he's not complicit, I mean, good grief. The guy, remember the Dixie Chicks? I said he made a decision. He had the opportunity, and now to stand there and say, everybody's nobody wants him on their team and everybody's blackballing. That's not the case.
Maybe it is.
Well, if it is, that's right, but that's not.
But that's their right.
But you know how the win at all costs, make
Right.
stupid decision
Yeah.
NFL guys. As I remind you of Johnny Manziel and all the gang,
Right.
and Michael Vick and everybody else. But here's the idea is. This guy has not had a good couple years.
No.
He had a good year to
Right.
start, but his star has fallen, and he has painted himself into a corner. And I don't have any problem. Let's put it this way: if it comes down to him and another guy of equal ability, don't be surprised if he doesn't get the job. Just because, why would you want to alienate people?
Right.
So but that's him.
Right.
That's not on the owners. That's not on anybody. That's on him. But it seems to me, and I'm going to take my shot at ESPN. Every show I turn on, and I listen to ESPN because I like to listen to sports radio, and it's the only one I can get sometimes, going
Right.
in and out of different areas. The fact of the matter is, I have no sympathy for him. I don't root against him,
Right.
but I don't root for him.
Yeah.
I just think, you thought thought that would be great, that everybody wants to know what your political stance on stuff is. That's fine.
Right.
You can say your political
Sure.
stance, but don't act like everybody's ripping you off because they
Right.
don't agree with you. I mean, that's just silly to
Yeah,
me.
and to me, don't disrespect the country that has given you so much. I mean, are we perfect? No. But I'll
no.
tell you what, we're more perfect than any other country in the world.
Well, I agree with that, but even still, like I said, that becomes then a subjective thing.
Right.
There's nothing subjective about you have the right to sit during the national anthem, but you also have the right to listen to everybody tell you
You're a jerk.
you're a jerk and I don't want him on my team.
Right.
I mean, life goes on. I
Right.
mean,
Well-
you dug it. Nobody else did that to you. So
Well, you knocked ESPN, and rightfully so. I'm going
Uh-huh.
to bring in Fox Sports 1, FS1.
bring him on.
Well, Shannon Sharp,
Okay.
he is the biggest mouth for Colin Kaepernick. And
Oh, really?
How badly he's being treated.
Oh,
and
see, but
all this
that to me, that's just a stance. It's okay.
Well, there's a guy, Harry Edwards, who he is a professor of sociology,
Yeah.
which to me is a bogus degree. and
Wait a minute.
I'll give you I'll give you a trivia question. Where do you think he's a professor at?
Yale.
No, West Coast.
Oh, okay. I'm
Berkeley.
Berkeley, Cal Berkeley.
Right. He is a sociologist there. He's a African American gentleman,
Okay.
and he wrote that Colin Kaepernick is today's Muhammad Ali, and Shannon Sharp jumped all over that in effusive agreement that Colin Kaepernick is today's Muhammad Ali.
How do you figure?
Well, that's what he said. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, what I don't even get it. I mean,
I guess
that's
because
how slow I am.
Because his social stance in sports, like Muhammad Ali did, which I totally disagree with. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form is there any kind of analogy between those two.
No,
Colin Kaepernick's making millions and millions of dollars. Muhammad Ali was stripped of his privilege or right, whatever, to make a living, basically,
yeah.
and lost millions and millions
Yes,
of
he
dollars.
did. Yes, he did.
And on top of that, he also suffered the years of prime years.
He
I
lost-
think from
he lost-
25 to 30, he was out of boxing.
But like I said, and while I don't know if I'm arguing against you on this, but
Well-
Ali, to his credit or discredit, did what he believed was right.
and it cost him.
And we didn't hear anybody go through this crap.
He could have easily said, "Well, this is what I believe, and
Yeah.
I'll go serve," and
Yeah.
because there's no way that the government would have sent Muhammad Ali to the front line.
That's right. You're right. Yeah, there's no question. You're right.
So he made a stance that cost him millions of dollars.
I remember that, but but this is nothing more. And like I said, and I always bring up the Dixie Chicks. This is what you get. This
Right.
is what I think.
Right.
Somebody said, okay,
You know-
I've accomplished this, and I've got a pulpit to do this, and oh, wait a minute, nobody liked that. you can backpedal all you want,
Right.
but the fact of the matter is, he isn't. I don't believe he's being blackballed for his stance, but
I think that's part of it.
I say it's part of it in the sense that if he comes in and plays for a second spot on a team and he isn't decidedly better than the other person, he's probably not going to get the job.
Right.
But that's nobody's fault but his.
Right.
So, I'll leave that at that.
Shannon Sharp is on the show called Skip and Shannon.
I don't like it.
Undisputed.
It's an argument show.
Yeah.
It's like Stephen A. Smith on steroids.
Right.
Let's see what we can say. The louder my opinion, the better I am.
So it's Skip Bayless, who used to be on ESPN.
I know
He used to do
Skip
that
Bayless.
first
He's a writer. He was a writer.
Yeah.
Or is probably.
So he used to be on ESPN, and they got him over there. My question to you is, why is it Skip and Shannon? Why isn't it Shannon and Skip? Is this like another white privilege microaggression? Why does Shannon Sharp stand there for second billing? I mean, he's certainly a much more accomplished sports figure.
Oh, well, obviously.
Super Bowl winner,
No,
3-time Super Bowl winner.
You're not thinking this out,
Oh,
Greg.
okay.
The fact of the matter is, anytime you have a team,
right.
the multiple syllables has got to go first. Siegfried and Roy. You can't call it Roy and Siegfried.
Right.
It's got to be Shannon and Skip.
Right.
I don't know if that's right or
I
not.
don't know.
It's just Siegfried and Roy occurred to me.
It's just the alliteration.
What was it? Alan and Rossi? No, that's 2 and 2. Okay. Abbott and Costello? No, I'm wrong. Martin and Lewis? No, I'm trying.
Uh-oh.
All right, that's not good. Oh, wait a minute. What's Edie Gourmet and Stephen Lawrence? No, I guess they didn't. I can't. They didn't go by anything.
I think it's a microaggression towards.
I like it. Microaggressions.
Right. That's a new millennial word coming out of Berkeley.
Oh no, not more millennials. I love it. But so just interestingly enough, that threw me for a loop, and I had to get into a rant on the politics. But yeah, I don't need good or bad. I don't need. Everything has to be predicated on what Trump's doing to it. That's another thing I don't
Right.
get. But everybody's entitled to say what they want to say. If you've got the pulpit like
Yep.
we do, I mean,
Well,
you can say what you want.
but
So,
see, here's the disagreement that I have with Colin Kaepernick.
go ahead.
The NFL is not his pulpit;
No, it isn't.
it's somebody else's pulpit.
That's right.
And I think not only is he abusing that, and I'll say privilege in that case for sure, he's abusing his privilege of what past players and owners have built up.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that, but by the same token, he decided to do it. I mean, I always think if you as a celebrity want to do that, you can do it. I remember I used to like to watch the circle of late night comedy shows because I stay up till midnight,
Right.
and it becomes very obvious what the political persuasion is. And I give Jay Leno credit because Jay Leno would always go both sides of the
Right.
fence. He'd make fun of Republicans and make fun of Democrats. Letterman, unfortunately, went totally liberal,
Right.
and that's okay. So he got the strong liberal base, but he lost a ton of viewers
Right.
that weren't. But to me, if you're intelligent, you can have a political opinion
Sure.
without sharing it on the air with people,
Right.
where they can turn you off or not go to your movies. Or I mean, if you're an actor and you want to shoot your mouth off about politics, good for you. But don't whine and moan if people aren't showing up to your movies because of your stance on abortion or something. That okay, but you're the one that offered it.
Right.
Who asked you for it? I didn't ask you for it.
That's right.
So I mean,
Good point.
you can't have it both ways. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't know Colin Kaepernick, wouldn't know my fellow over him, but the fact of the matter is, he's his agent or what? Somebody's trying to make him look like a victim, and
Yeah.
they're trying like crazy. His minions or whatever the sports minions are trying, but I'm not falling for it. So
yeah.
that's my take on Colin Kaepernick. And we got lots more sports to talk about, but that went a little long. But it's
it,
always fun
but
to
it was
start
good.
off with a rant.
It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Thank you.
All right. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And what we won't be talking about when we come back is the WNBA, the Premier League soccer in Europe. Those are just a couple of things we won't be talking about. We'll be right back after these messages. We are back with the Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And I think we put Colin Kaepernick aside.
Put him asleep. Put
All
him
right.
back to bed.
All right.
And that's fine with me. And so we on to our next topic. Oh, and before we get started, a real quick update. And it's the OVAs are done in the quarterfinals. The last two OVAs in the Italian Open in the women's side. Darla Gavrilova of Australia lost to Kiki Bertens, and the one that I really thought was going to bring home the bacon, Karolina Pliskova, lost to Alina Svitolina. And I'll tell you, there's no more overs in that tournament. Here's the first names of the final four ladies playing in the Italian Open: Simona, Kiki, Elena, and Garbine. That's no Debbies or Sues or Betsy's in there. And
So no Americans, huh?
yes, you're exactly right.
That's a shame.
Americans. In fact, Venus Williams lost to Garbine Muguruza in 3 sets in the quarters. So
Isn't she like 6 months pregnant?
no, that's Serena.
Oh.
I think Venus is like 6 months from collecting
Ah.
Social Security. But I'll tell you what, she's still unbelievable tennis player.
Right.
Really great baseline player. But Garbine Muguruza beat her in 3 sets, so my hat's off to her. And real quickly on the men's side, because this is, I think, is important. Isner beat upset Cilic, who was the 6th seed. Zverev beat Raonic, who's the 5th seed. But the important one is Dominic Thiem, and this is a clay court tournament, beat Rafael Nadal in straight sets. And Nadal was just racing through this tournament. And I think it says more about, not about the demise of Nadal, is about how good this Thiem is,
Yeah.
especially on clay. And Novak Djokovic has won the first set, but is in the middle of a rain delay against Juan Martín del Potro. So that's the rundown on the tennis. But I'd love to know what the statistics are and how many women's tournaments have been played when somebody with the last name ending in OVA didn't make it into the semifinals, because usually the OVAs are just flying all over the place.
And what is Maria Sharapova? They're not letting her play in. What is
She's
it,
not allowed to
Australia?
play in the French.
French. Okay.
But she has been offered a wild card in the U.S., I think.
Okay.
So somebody's trying to thumb their nose at the French. But
Right. Which is the right thing to do.
well, it is the right thing to do. I'm just curious because that's really a hot potato. They're trying to decide
Right.
whether she did something by accident or if she did something intentionally. And to me, I don't care if it was intentional or not. It's stupid. If you are an athlete and you risk losing, 6 months or a year because you get tested positive for something
Right.
that you know damn well you're going to get a drug test on.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't buy the I didn't know story. And that was her story. And she played for 10 years, so
Well, it was legal, and then
Well,
it was banned.
then she
And
got
then,
to stop.
Right, no, I agree with you. I'm not-
No, but okay, you're right. I do remember reading that.
Yeah.
I didn't pay much attention to it because I just kind of shrugged and said, "Well, what a surprise!"
Right.
But it never surprises me to see
Kind of a-
endurance athletes taking some kind of a supplement or a PED.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird drug. It's heart medicine, and I guess what it does is it helps your circulation.
Oh,
So-
that's got to help.
Yeah.
So so what? Less cramping or
I don't know.
or less heart heavy breathing. But no, that the fact of the matter is that she was a big name in the sport, and she's still only 30, I think, maybe 31.
Right.
But
Well, she hasn't fared too well in the last few years.
no, I guess she hasn't. Although, like I said, she still can play a formidable game of tennis, and I'm sorry to see her go through this, but not like what a raw deal she got.
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
if you do it, you do it. So, there might be some reasons that somebody wants to give me, but until somebody, just to say I wasn't aware I was taking it,
Yeah.
no, please, anything but that. So that's the tennis rundown.
All right.
And like I said, if you want, can I go into this? We talked about this at length, and I hope somebody would call in 352-315-1410 and give me your point on this. But there has never been, in my estimation, doesn't mean it's not important to some people. There has never been a bigger to-do made about something so insignificant than the NFL draft. I have seen, and I got nothing against people that make their living off it and
Right.
making, but all it takes is, you've got 18 different guys giving you how all the teams are going to pick the number one pick, and somebody makes a trade in the second, and it crumbles. It's a house of cards. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So what's the point? You can analyze till you're blue in the face who the Carolina Panthers are going to take, and that's all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, if it's all predicated on who's available to them, that you didn't know was going to be available to them, and then everything just collapses. So to me, it's really. I know it's a hype. I know people are interested. I know everybody, the fantasy players, everybody's getting juiced up. I just can't believe.
To me, it's worthy of a 30-minute show.
Yes, I agree, but not
after that.
not 3 hours a night
No.
for through 2
Right,
weeks.
right.
I don't get it.
Right. I don't get that either. Because you can't avoid, like, if you're listening to like ESPN or any of the other sports radio shows, you're always going to get the Mel Kiper Juniors that they have as a guest.
But
for
that's what he
7,
does,
8
and that's what he
minutes.
does. Yeah, and I'm sure he knows his college football.
Right.
But he doesn't know.
3 hours every night, like you said, of draft
That's
scenarios. Just
and then they go through the workout, and he's got a vertical jump of this, and he's got something. Okay, I can put up with that even, but I can't put up with the.
See, I know who listens to us, our show. Very intelligent, open-minded.
Yes.
Brilliant.
You're right.
Sports fans.
If you're listening to this show, you're obviously
absolutely
Mensa.
cut above. But I don't get who watches 3 hours of draft picks. Who? What audience is that?
Well, unless you have a say so in it. If it affects your business and affects, I guess I understand it, but I don't understand.
No, it is as entertainment value.
No,
on ESPN. Who's watching 3 hours?
I'll turn it off.
Cover? Me too.
It's what do you do? I just don't get what is being accomplished. Okay.
Well,
So
like I said, 30 minutes.
and
maybe a
next
couple of times,
week there'll be even 5. Next year, there will be 5 more prognosticators, and so you'll have even more time will be spent on TV. And their argument would be, "Hey, we get the listenership, so don't tell me I'm doing something wrong." And I can't. You're right. If that's that important, I can't do a thing about it. But I don't. It doesn't mean I understand it. Why would I want to listen to somebody tell me who's going to get somebody that they probably aren't going to get?
Yeah.
If you're just enlightening me about the caliber of football players and here's all the quarterbacks, you've already done it.
Yeah.
Here's your 12 quarterbacks that are in. I get that now.
Right.
Now, he slid down to 7th, and this guy is, plummeted. He's moved up to 3rd or something.
Right.
Okay. But, to me, it's... who was it? Terleski? Is that the guy's name that was the first quarterback taken?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody paid attention.
Terwilliger?
I thought it was Terleski or Trubisky. Trubisky?
No, I was thinking
Mitchell
you were going to pick up on the Terwilliger from The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I missed out. Sorry about that. I'm a Simpsons fan, as you know. But no, the fact of the matter is, and I don't mean to, like I said, I'm not saying this isn't a what's wrong with the world thing. It's just frustrating to me.
Yeah.
It's no more or less frustrating than instant replay in baseball where everybody sits around. And here's what you got. Here's how simple instant replay can be. 1 minute.
Right.
1 minute. Look at it. If you can't change it, the call stands, move on.
Right.
But adding a third person to look at the film and showing 5 different angles under the guise that we want to get it right.
Right.
No.
Right.
What you're doing now is you're trying to justify your decision, and no, if it's not cut and dried, you're not going to do it. You're going to have 4 people think he's safe, 4 people think he's out. Can we please play baseball? That's my.
I'm trying to coin a new phrase here. I'm hoping that it'll catch on, but it is a little clunky. But it's the video gamization. Video gamization.
I like it.
I won't spell that.
Well,
for
that's
you.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's the video gamization is very good.
And it's like, just forget it. Because again, I'm not really a what do you call that, purist and all that stuff. I mean, there's things that I like and things I don't like, but I don't think it has to be like baseball doesn't need to be non-changed from 1900. Games evolve and stuff. But having said that, now I think they're catering to like video games.
They're
it's got to be with a exit velocities and trajectories and all the fancy graphics of following. Yeah, it's just, to me, it's I don't know who's that's appealing to.
Well, but I don't know who's making the decisions again on that,
Right.
and that bothers me because I hear these discussions about they had that 18-inning game about a month ago or something, and now we've got to play 12. Why?
Right.
So the game went long.
Oh well, that brings me up.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So it went longer. Did you ever go on
on
a 2-hour plane flight and have to wait 3 hours because your plane got delayed? So let's stop half the flights? No, it's silly.
Well, that opens the door to my to Jessica Mendoza.
Bring her in.
Who I detest. She
Bring
is
her
the
in.
worst broadcaster that ever could be hired. She is horrible.
Okay.
Absolutely horrible. She's an ESPN baseball analyst.
You told me about her. I haven't
Yeah.
seen her yet.
Okay. She is absolutely. She was sitting there in the 12th inning, whining and moaning about, they need to have ties in baseball. They do it in other sports and.
That's not a reason.
If I was ESPN, I would have called up. If I was a president of sports, I would have called up and said, "Look, grab her
off.
Grab her by the scruff of the neck." And throw her right off the air. She's fired, and
But they did. They probably backed her up.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. In fact, she is so bad. I can't even talk. But
Well, you know what?
you
made your point.
you-
The fact of the matter is, though, that this is where it's politically correct, I guess, to examine both sides of every situation. And we're a politically correct society.
Right.
So if somebody says something like that, I mean, if I don't understand, and I have not heard one good argument for shortening a game of
Right. Me either.
the length of a game of baseball. I don't get it.
Right.
If I go to an 18-inning game, that's something I can talk about for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I was there when they
That's
played
right.
18, but but that doesn't mean we've got to stop this. No, it just
Right.
means that
because they want to go home.
no,
Because Jessica Mendoza wanted to go
yeah,
home.
I guess but to me it's just awful.
I figured out why I have so much contempt for Jessica Mendoza.
I haven't.
You can call me a sexist. It's
Are
not-
you?
No.
All right.
Because I like Michelle Beadle, broadcaster for ESPN. Susan Waldman, who's the color commentator for the New York
Yankees. You like Susan?
Yeah. Pam Oliver, longtime NFL sideline.
She good?
Yeah. You know what it is? I don't really notice that it's Pam Oliver.
Yeah.
What I notice is that it's a fan.
Yeah.
These people, they come across as sports fans.
They're fans. Well,
Jessica Mendoza comes across as, well, I won the gold medal in softball. Therefore, there's an equivalency. So girls softball is the equivalent of baseball, and I'm sitting here with Aaron Boone, and I'm just like Aaron Boone. I'm an athlete, just like Aaron Boone, and I'm like, and that's how she comes across. She does not come across as a baseball fan.
Well, you got to be a fan.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. If you're not a fan, I don't want you on the air.
And she can talk all the stupid sabermetric stats because that's what you actually
Well,
get
see, but
out of her.
that's somebody who's not a fan.
Right.
That's somebody who's trying to
Right.
collate some data to cover up their unappreciation.
Right.
But I mean, you had a point you made that I really appreciate. What I really hate about all of the the things now with the instant replays and the reviews, and now where the umpire or the manager has to throw out a dart or something,
Right.
whatever he does to complain. I miss the managers coming out and fighting the umpires. To me, there was nothing better than to see the manager come out and pick up the base and throw it. I mean,
Right.
and act like a 3-year-old. That to me, that's great, and people love that. You can't.
I do.
Everybody in the audience is like, "Come on,
Right.
get out there, get out there, Lou Piniella."
Right.
And that to me, that's interest.
Yes.
That's being a
It's
fan.
entertainment.
That's being a fan.
Yes. Yes.
And you can't stand there and say, well, we're taking that part out of the game now. Managers can sit in their dugouts and
Right.
shut up. And no, that's
Well, I'm going to go further, and maybe James will kick me off the air. I don't know, but it's the feminization of sports as well. It's happening in America. Everything is. You got to kowtow.
Well, it's
to
it's
female.
politically
Yeah,
correct.
Like there's an equivalency.
Yeah, there's politically
And-
correct.
yeah.
And you know what? There's no equivalency. I couldn't commentate on women's gymnastics.
me either.
And so I understand that. And I know, but it looks like you're one of the boys or girls if you
Right.
throw, just once I'd like to see an all male or all women's coverage on
And-
something.
and-
So, but they're not going to do that.
Right. And and I make the joke when they come out to argue a call. They go to the top of the step and they curtsy.
Genuflect.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like like a little feminine kind of thing. You come out there and scream at the umpire and throw a base at him. That's what I want to see.
Well, I tell me that's not fun.
It is
And
great.
made Billy Martin a hero, made Lou Piniella a star. Earl Weaver, we'd come up and argue,
Right.
he'd come jumping out and get as close as he can to the ump and realize his hat was
Right.
on. He'd have to flip his hat and put it on backwards so he get even closer to the face of him. I mean, I'm not saying that makes baseball great, but
No.
it makes it genuine, and I enjoy that.
Yes.
I really enjoy that. And I'm really sad to see that part of the game
Right.
is gone and gone for good.
Right.
Really a shame.
I agree. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They are located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And our phone number, if you want to be on the show, is 352-315-1410. And I think we're saying some pretty controversial things here, so we'd like to get your views on it. And we will be right back after these messages from our sponsors here at WQBQ 1410, your community service radio station. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here in WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, and it's a beautiful 83 degrees out there today. I think summer is finally here.
Summer has arrived, even though it's a month early. But that's that being said, what we were talking about, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit. There seems to be, and you were talking about the video gamization, which I kind of like, of the of professional sports. What is it? And I hope you can straighten me out on this. I don't understand the need to change things. I understand if the games are long in terms of the procedure,
Right.
not the length of the game per se. You know, if I guarantee if it's 24 to 18 in a baseball game, it's going to be a long game.
Right.
And you can fix that by getting better pitchers.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing you can do about it. But the need to change to make it look like you care. It's almost
Well-
like the adaptation of all these stats, these exit velocities and
Right.
whips and wars, to make it look like you're adding something. You're not adding anything
Right.
to the game. You aren't adding anything to the game itself.
It's just change for change's sake.
And to me, I don't buy it. And if everybody says everybody's bored, well, I don't think they're bored. The
No.
ratings look pretty good.
Right.
The attendance last I looked was pretty good
Yeah.
for baseball. Yes, do I hate the fact that after every pitch, Pedro backs out and takes off one glove and takes off the other, pulls it tight, straightens it out,
Right.
fixes his shin pads, gets back in the box, tells the umpire, hold on a second, let me dig my hole. And then he gets up to bat and he fouls the next pitch off and he goes through the same routine.
Right.
That can be fixed.
Yes.
That is his personal routine into the game of baseball. But the fact of the matter is, if he's like Richie Ashburn, he fouls off 50 pitches. He's fouling off 50 pitches.
Right.
You can't say, okay, let's change the rule that if he fouls off 10 pitches, he's out.
Right.
Why?
Right.
He's doing is doing what a good baseball player should do.
Sure.
And it just bothers the heck out of me. Oh, they should only be 12 innings. Why?
Right.
There is no explanation. And it's not, if it's shortening the game's got nothing to do with that.
And they used to say years ago that one of the beautiful things about baseball is the fact that it doesn't have a clock.
It doesn't have a clock. It goes on forever.
Right.
Might have extra innings, as George Carlin would say. We may be here all night. But he's right. But that's okay. That's fun.
Right.
You can leave. Kids have to go to school. Okay, leave in the 16th inning.
Right.
And you can listen to it on the radio on the way home and see. If they're still playing, you think, well, I'm glad I left when I did. But, I mean, good grief. It's just, I don't want, asine's way too strong a word, but I find a problem with somebody trying to fix things that they perceive are broken on their clock, but not they're not on my clock. I don't like I said, and I know that we're all going to take it on the chops about the designated hitter. That's fine. Okay, I give up. I don't care about the designated. It ain't baseball, but I accept it because it's been 30 years now or whatever. Okay, fine.
Well, and I like the fact that there is the designated hitter in one league and not the other.
That's fine too. So you got different things you
yeah.
do. Okay,
I mean,
I have no problem with it. And then but what happens when they play each other? Well, when you're
what happens is what happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Pitcher has to bat, or the
Some
pitcher gets
American
not to
League.
bat.
What the American League pitcher was it last night or 2 nights to hit a home run?
Yeah.
And an interest going. He's up like 8 times in his
Right.
life. He said, "How about that?
That's
huh?
right.
That's pretty cool." Now that's a neat story.
Yes, it is.
Here's a guy that never faces a professional hitter or a professional pitcher, and his 8th time up, he hits one out of the park.
Right.
That's a story. That's fun.
Right.
That's what I like about baseball. But this thing, we're gonna, and we've beaten a dead horse on the four pitch intentional walk. But why not just, if you guy gets on first base, it's coming, okay, and I want to sacrifice him to second, I just go tell the ump, I'm sacrificing.
Yeah.
Put me back in the dugout. Put him on second. I'm giving up my out for him. But what's the difference? It's
Yeah.
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
With intentional walks and everything else. They don't want to play. Let's not play.
Because they could save another 4 seconds so that they can add another commercial.
Or the Pedro can fix
because
can fix his glove again for the 90th time.
Because that's really the bottom line to me is it's the commercials. That's what's making.
Well,
these
there's no
games
question.
long.
There's no question. You're right.
You know,
But
I don't know why nobody wants to talk about that. I guess
Well,
like
that's
if
the
you're
elephant-
ESPN,
elephant in the room.
ESPN, you can't do it because that's how
cash.
they're making
That's
their
a
money.
cash money. Yeah, that's
but the bottom line is it's the amount of commercials that jammed in there. I could go make a 3-course meal in the kitchen, in between innings.
I noticed nobody, and maybe they do, and I haven't been paying attention. I used to be able to watch a pro football game, and I mean a complete pro football game in 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Right.
You can't see one for under 3:45 now.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't see. Is there an uproar about we've got to shorten these? I guess there was a little talk about it it ain't going to get short.
Right.
It ain't going to get shortened. It's more commercials. It's keeping the people around. They like football so much,
Right.
they'll put up with the commercial. And to me, just get real. Don't change the sport. Change the other things.
Again, it goes back to, like you said, you were able to watch a football game in 2.5 hours. You were able to watch a baseball game in under 2.5 hours.
2 hours, sometimes an hour. You get some pitchers that work quick, an hour and 40 minutes.
We got a call.
Good.
Let me see if I can.
Push him on. Push her on.
You on the air? Caller. You're on the air, caller. Nope, guess not.
I'm not hearing.
Nope.
That's okay. We'll see if we
Guess
can
they
get.
got afraid.
They get sick of it.
Right.
That's all right. But call back, caller. By the way,
Yeah.
we'll get you on the air and we'll talk about it.
Maybe it was my lack of.
It might have been. Like I said, we're trying to shorten up the show. The show's going too long, so we're trying to take care of things. But actually, Greg's amazing because he runs the booth and participates in the program, which is I always find it very, very intriguing that he could do that. That is something I definitely cannot do. But
All right, I think we got a caller here.
bring him on.
You're on the
Bring
air,
her on.
caller. You're on the air, caller. I don't know why. All right.
Okay, we apologize, but that's not the first time that's happened. Well, nor will it be the last. But keep trying. One of these days it'll go through. Or we'll get the button pushed right, or whatever it is. But thank you for at least trying to participate, because we're here saying not controversial things. These are things I passionately believe in.
Right.
And I just don't think that we should meddle with baseball. If you want to shorten the game, tell Pedro one glove fix, one shift in equipment, and that's enough. So that's my suggestion. I'm a baseball fan first, and I always liked it.
Am I on the air?
All right.
Now
I think
I've
we
got
him on.
somebody.
Did you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now who am I speaking with? Who
This
is
is
it?
Low H.
I thought this was Pedro fixing his
Low
batting
H.
glove.
Raul. My friends call me Raul. Look it. It was the 2003. It was a 20-inning game from the Cardinals in the Marlins. I wanted to stay and watch the game, but my wife made me go to dinner. I was so upset.
You should have gone to dinner and come back and watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Hold your
And
keep your
ironically,
stuff.
that's what happened. Here I was.
I think his wife just smacked
His
him in
wife
the
just
head or
hit him.
something, yeah.
That's not good.
She's a so fair. All right. So we're talking about feminizing the sport, which is right up my alley. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Ever since, go ahead.
no, I want to hear what you have to say. That's just great.
Well, I'm saying, remember when people used to wear the hard hat to the game and they would keep score? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Sure, absolutely.
You smoke cigars, you eat the peanuts, and you drop the shells everywhere. That's baseball. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Beanballs, broken noses, stolen bases, bloody noses. You got the up checks. You know what I mean?
I think broken nose. I think you're getting baseball and boxing confused there, but that's okay. Broken nose
It's
is.
a rough game.
Oh hell
It
yes.
can be, yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
I think more than feminization, it could be familyization. You know what I mean? And bring the kids out to the, but hey,
Yeah.
Well,
you gotta watch what you say.
You brought the kids out in the old days too, because it was
Yeah,
it was
Back in the old days, they
Life
had those
lessons.
fake cigarettes for the kids. Used to cost, it was a lot of fun.
Here's a lucky strike that
Right.
you can eat. Yeah, that's
They
right.
used to give away the Lucky Strikes at the front door.
And that and the
Yeah.
bubble gum cigars are always good. You can get them.
So good to hear your voice. Where you been? You have off a vacation? You
I
don't
was
take
on
any time off.
I was on vacation because I went up and visited my kids, and that was a great trip. So I really
That's too
enjoyed
much
that.
information.
Okay, yeah, don't elaborate. Okay, just welcome back. Okay, next
Welcome
step.
back. I love
but,
the
But
show.
no, okay,
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And what do you think about?
What's your opinion on the rough side of baseball? Is there room for women in the stands?
yeah. They're fans. I'm
Fans
not
are
saying,
fans,
I'm
but-
just saying the game itself shouldn't be feminized.
Yeah,
you know?
I think they're trying to cater to women fans and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Let's have the women adapt to the sport, not the sport
Right.
adapt to the women. That's
Can I tell you a little story? I remember I used to show up early to the game because I could go out to the batting practice. I
Sure.
get baseball, get it signed watch the pitcher warm up. Well, the rookie pitcher, they always made him carry the gum out to the bull over there where they practice, and they make him carry it in a pink backpack. Could you believe it? The rookie pitcher. So it's stigmatized, and I don't make this up. It's real. It's real. You can look it up. There's a pink backpack. He carries the bazooka bubble gum out to where the pitcher's warming up. That's a real story.
I love those stories.
That's
But-
true civilization.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's thank you for sharing with us because this is something that's kind of been grinding at us for a while. But I just want you tell me. I want the game. I want the game to. To me, the game holds up on its feet fine the way it is. But no more Pedro backing out 10 times after each pitch. And
Why are you picking on Pedro?
Well, it
Let
seems
me
like
ask you this. What about when they check first? How many times are you going to be allowed to check first?
Right.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, eventually then the guy's going to steal. I mean, but what they do is they shorten their step to home plate now. Some of the guys have learned to do that, the guys that they were running on. So, I mean, but you're right. Throwing to first base gets old, but even the fans like that too. After about the third throw over,
Right.
everybody, you can hear 40,000 people getting mad at
I
the
love
pitcher.
it.
Yeah, isn't that great? So
It's wonderful.
that's what's wonderful about baseball.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anything else for us?
I'll just say welcome back. I love the show. I'm intently listening.
You
Thank
are
you.
Every inflection.
You're a hero. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for the call.
Have a great day.
Take care, pal.
Goodbye.
All right. See how easy it is? So
That's
call in 352-315-1410.
that is how easy it is. You just take eight tries, you get in. Actually, that worked out fine. And
All right, we got a couple of minutes left in this segment.
Yes.
And I don't know. I might wait till the next segment.
All right,
before
'cause
I
I-
start bringing on some more of my nonsense.
well, let's do it. What I want to do, I'll tell you what. In a couple minutes, I can certainly cover the NHL, which
right.
is in the semifinals, and it's both games are 2-2,
Right.
with the favored teams going home for Game 5. But
Right.
what I like about hockey is home ice doesn't seem to matter a whole lot.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, if the Penguins and Anaheim win, which they're favored to do, good for them. And if the Penguins lose to Ottawa, the whole country of Canada will rally around Ottawa
Yeah,
because
that's for sure.
that's the Canadian.
They've probably already rallied.
That's
around
the survivor. That was heartbreaking for the country of Canada last night to lose that game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Nashville, which is one of my all-time favorite cities, if they're able to beat Anaheim and get in, that will be it's just going to be a feather in the cap of that organization and Peter Lovell. Because Nashville was teetering on the brink of losing their franchise about 3-4 years ago. They're getting it done, and good for them. So, like I said, I hope if Pittsburgh and Anaheim don't win, I hope that they both lose, not
Yeah.
just one of them, because I'd like to see. I would love if Pittsburgh can't be in it because I'm a Pittsburgher. I'd love to see Ottawa play Nashville because neither of them have ever won a cup, and I think you have the whole Canadian fervor versus the American Party City.
Yeah. So
It'd be interesting.
The Penguins played Matt Murray last night instead of Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, and I think that was their intent at the beginning of the series, but Murray hurt himself warming up in Game 1 of the first game of the series. Didn't say what it was. Now it's a lower body injury or something, which tells me nothing. But that's
Right.
how they. But he's going to be in now. He will be in the goal until he gets hurt again.
Well, as much as I don't like Sidney Crosby, he certainly outshined.
Carlson.
No, in the last series.
Ovechkin?
Yeah, Ovechkin.
Well, but Ovechkin, as good a player as he is, Washington's got 3 or 4 guys as
Right.
good. They're just different. Backstrom, Yoshi, they got some good.
well,
Go ahead,
and
Carlson.
and Washington won the President's Cup.
They
which
won
means
it,
that
and
the-
they won it last year
It's
too.
like,
And
how does that happen?
Well, I feel bad for them, and they're gonna. You can see that the
That-
moves afoot to trade Ovechkin.
That
They-
President's Cup is like a
kiss of death.
Yeah, it's like,
hey, we had the most points.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they never won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So now that's the thrill. You got to. So one of these days, somebody's going to win the President's Cup and the Stanley Cup. It'll
Well,
be
I mean,
fantastic.
it has been done, but it's the exception. It's not.
Oh, there's no
You
question.
would think the team with the best record coming in year after year, winning that, would go far, and they seem to never go far.
Well, like I said, hockey especially, it's who's hot at the right time during the playoffs. You
Yeah.
might think that's for all teams, but I think hockey especially, everybody finds their systems just at the right time.
Right.
So, all right, we're 1 hour in the can.
All
We're
right.
ready.
That's right. 1 hour, 1 hour in the can, 1 hour to go. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. You're listening to, well, you are listening to Red Zone Radio. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and we'll be right back after these messages. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And we're going to switch gears a bit here.
I'll be ready to.
I'm going to tell you what I did last night.
That's what I want you to do because I was. I think it's related to sports.
Sort of.
That's good enough for me. It's a sports show.
I actually watched Major League, the movie.
The old movie
the
from
old movie.
Cleveland with Tom Berenger and
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie
and
Sheen.
Corbin Burnson.
Wow, Corbin Burnson, whose career skyrocketed after that. Actually, his did actually.
Yeah.
But that's always good stuff. And what's the name of the actor the Wesley Snipes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes. That's exactly right. So okay.
Play
so
like Willie, I run like Hayes.
I remember liking that movie.
Yeah.
Just on the sheer Bob Uecker, I always enjoy too. Bob Uecker is always fun for me, and I remember him announcing just a bit outside. But so, what was your take on Major League?
Well, one of the things that struck me towards the end of the movie when they bring Charlie Sheen in and they play, and his nickname is Wild Thing, and they play that song.
Yeah.
Is that when the song started for players after that movie? Because they all have their own individual song now that they play.
I think that basically started it. Yeah. Now you have to have a theme,
right?
That you play for all of your
right.
Relief pitchers and your,
Or even the batters coming to bat, they play a little.
Well,
song
some of the arenas have always had a long time organist or something who was very clever.
Right.
Would always play some. You have to think about why is he playing that. And then by the time the guy had made the out, you'd realize, oh yeah, I get that now. But
and one of the things in the politically correct world that kind of struck me was, and I don't know if we call this a subplot. It's not really a subplot, but. The diverse backgrounds they were always showing, like the I guess what back then in the movie was made in 1989 or released in 1989.
Yeah.
So it was like the punk rockers and the construction workers, and they'd all get along because they all loved the Cleveland Indians.
Love the Cleveland Indians.
And I don't know if Hollywood was mocking them or or they really believed that baseball kind of brings a disparate or a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a diverse group.
Yeah.
I don't like that word, diverse.
No, I know. Diversity has like 5 different meanings.
Yeah, but a diverse group of people is because that's actually what baseball does, and that's why.
Well, you're all fans. Who cares what your politics are?
Right.
Who cares what you do? How cares how much money you make?
Right.
You're a baseball fan.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's so. I wasn't sure if they were mocking that or if it's just happened to be. In now that you view it in 2017 with all the political correctness, so that was a thing that I kind of came away from it. It was a fun. It's a fun movie. It's a great movie. It's one of my favorite comedy.
You know what?
Movies.
It's over the top with a purpose, and I like that. I just enjoy it because you laugh at it. I laugh when I see the movie.
Now, and then so speaking of movies, I wanted to bring up this other one. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Well, he's alluding to the idea of running for president in 2020.
He is?
Yes.
Why?
I guess that's what he wants to do. But it brings up another point. There's a movie that came out, probably maybe 10 years ago called Idiocracy.
I remember it.
And the premise of it's a kind of a future movie.
Yes.
These two people get sent to the future, and So the president of the United States at the time, played by Terry Crews, I don't know if you remember who he
Oh,
is.
sure. I know who Terry Crews is.
He's the president of the United States.
So we have like another bodybuilder, like.
Yeah. So he
President,
but
okay.
he's a professional wrestler.
Oh, okay.
So now so I guess it's, what is it? Art imitating life, or life imitating art? Which way does that go? So now you have a professional wrestler who wants to run for president of the United States. And you know, having said that, I mean, it's a great thing in, you know, our society that anybody really could.
I like that part of it,
Yeah.
to be sure, because the thing I really enjoyed about this past election was that it thumbed its nose at both parties,
Yes.
and I kind of like that.
Yes.
Because both parties deserve to be spanked and sent to their room.
Yes.
They're not doing anything as a group to help the majority of the people in this
Right.
country. They are trying to protect themselves and keep themselves. And as I said, even with Trump or whoever's going to win after Trump, I just wanted something to change.
Yes.
And I'm so desperate, I'll risk it.
Yes.
Let's change it.
Right.
And so bring on Terry Crews, bring on The Rock.
Right.
I don't care what they, but as long as they've got something that's a cogent idea, when they start talking political, I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like it. I still, and I give, like I said, without being political on this, to Trump's credit, he still hasn't collapsed and started talking politically. He still said what he said. I forget his expression referring to Comey, the FBI
Right.
director. He said something
Right.
that I would
I
have
think he
said.
called him a nut job.
Yeah, nut job. I mean, you got to love that.
Right.
That's great. I mean, that's exactly what I don't. Now unpresidential. Unpresidential.
Right.
That's as presidential as it gets. Guys, he's a nut job. That's I can relate to that. I don't have to say, well, we've chosen to go another direction,
Yeah.
and we thank him for all his years of nut job.
Right.
Get him out. Next, I love it.
All
I love
right.
it. But that's me.
Now I'm going to go to a subject a little less,
Uh-oh.
more sad, I guess.
Okay.
Is the story of Nick Bonacani.
Oh yes, you were telling me a little bit about that off the air.
Yeah,
What's up with Nick?
Well, he's suffering from memory loss.
Oh,
and,
boy.
He's having a lot of physical problems and some memory stuff. And the sad part of it is, he's saying that he regrets playing football, and if he knew what.
Oh, sure.
He's 76 years old.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what the average lifespan for a man in the United States is?
Probably 82.
76.9.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Boy, I thought it was a lot higher.
Nope.
Wow. So okay. But my question is, so this is totally having to do with football.
Well, I mean that's the claim. There's no doubt. Not trying to sugarcoat anything here. There's no doubt he's feeling the effects of playing in the NFL.
Oh, physically, I
Sure.
agree with that, but I know people that never got hit
That's right.
with a shoulder pad
Right.
one time, and they've gotten dementia and Alzheimer's in their 60s for
Yep.
crying out loud. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, and that is as insidious a thing as you can develop.
Right.
Because I've had it twice in my family, and that's just the bits. You don't want
Yeah.
anywhere near that.
Right.
But that being said, okay, so he has regrets. Now, it's interesting. And we were talking about his son. I don't know if everybody remembers his
Yeah.
son is still, not still, but he's a quadriplegic? Quadriplegic. And that was a football injury.
Yes.
And
I think it was college, wasn't it?
I don't think he played pro ball. I think it was college. I think you're right. And as tragic as that is, I don't know. Does he have regrets about having him play football? I never heard what he had.
No, I didn't read it. I didn't read
Yeah,
about that. But he's Nick Bonacani's done a lot of great things.
Great
with-
charitable.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no question.
Because of his son, and he's I think it's here in Florida. A spinal injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the exact name of the organization, but apparently they've made a lot of breakthroughs in.
Well,
in
You got to have.
yeah.
Well, I was in pharmaceuticals and development of pharmaceuticals, and you can complain about how much they cost all you want, but you got to have money to develop the drugs
Right.
and then pass the stringent tests that the government
Yeah.
makes you go through.
But-
and it's the same thing with that type of thing. I mean, you've got to, it costs money to try and do breakthrough stuff in
Right.
spinal cords. My God.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because one of the things that's under attack, obviously in America, is professional sports, and football in particular, by the left, and they want to replace it. Like they really put this big push on soccer. Soccer is the panacea. I guess it's a great game because I guess it fits into their idea that you can, the ends in tie 1-1. Everybody goes home happy with a trophy and all of that stuff, and nobody gets hurt. And it's little kids running around a big open field, and
They got head injuries in soccer.
well, and I posted on the Red Zone Radio Facebook page an article in the Telegraph, UK newspaper, an article on soccer, their football with a U, of the 11 greatest players in I don't know if it's Great Britain
Soccer.
or whatever, but all suffering from traumatic head injuries because of their careers in soccer.
like Pele and Maradona and those guys.
I didn't see Pele on the list, but I didn't recognize any of the names because they're
I don't,
Europeans.
I don't know them. I don't
Yeah.
know them. No.
Yeah, they're Europeans, and and
Diego,
that's
I
fine.
know Diego Maradona and Pele, and that's
right.
and Coprinz.
And it's just funny to me because it's not sports regardless. Soccer, I'm not a fan of soccer, but anytime I think team sports is great. But don't tell me that it's better because of this or that. Football, American football, is a fantastic sport, and it doesn't need to be replaced. If you want to add soccer to the mix here and it takes off, great. But don't tell me soccer has to replace football. That's my point.
Well, I agree with that. I wasn't aware that big of a push was going on, but then again, I don't pay much attention.
Well, you look at high schools and elementary. There's a lot of high schools that don't have football teams anymore because of the supposed,
but if it was making money for them, I bet they'd have it. There probably wasn't
well,
a big.
it is a much more expensive sport
Yeah.
than soccer, but
Yeah.
But usually, you have the booster clubs and the parents and would pay for equipment. I played hockey in high school. We had to buy all our own equipment. The football team had their equipment given to them.
Yeah.
But hockey, you had to have your own equipment.
Yeah, we used actually magazines. We had to tape magazines around our shins instead of getting pads. But no, your point's well taken, and there is no perfect solution. And anybody who thinks there is lying to you. You take the sport for what it is.
Yeah.
Soccer, you're going to find as many head injuries as football. You get hit in the head. Somebody kicks a football into your head, kicks a soccer ball into your head,
Yeah.
or you hit and bang your head on the ground a
Right.
couple of times. You can have severe trauma,
Right.
and but to stand there and try to compare it, but you got. I'm sure soccer has led to as many knee injuries as. I mean, you got guys. The guys that fall and then twist around and scream and they get up and run.
Right.
There's some of that selling that goes on, but there's no pad. That's as dangerous as it gets. But you know what? People don't realize that, or at a high level, lacrosse is as rough as any of them.
Oh, absolutely. Great game.
It's a great
I'm actually
game.
surprised that hasn't really caught. It's actually growing, but
It still has an elitist feel to it.
It does.
And eventually
it's
it won't.
Right.
Once you get some neighborhood guys,
It's a lot of fun.
Once you get LL Cool J or somebody
Right.
playing with a lacrosse thing, somebody's going to pick it up and go, "Wow, this is pretty cool."
And it's amazing because back in the day, Jim Brown was he's a
Jim
Hall
Brown
of Fame
was
lacrosse player.
even better lacrosse player
Yes.
proportionally
Right.
than he was a football player.
Yep.
That's
And,
just amazing.
And obviously that's a long time. What, the 50s did he?
58, 59. Yeah.
And I'm surprised that it really hasn't carried on from there because it's a great sport. I
Well,
played
it's
in high school.
unfortunately it's Northeastern.
Yeah.
It is Northeastern. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to,
Yeah.
it's leaked down to Duke. Duke's about as far south as you go with the lacrosse.
Right.
But, and it's still not North Carolina. That's good, but it's
Yeah.
not as good as Syracuse and Navy and, Johns Hopkins. But, no, you make a real good point. The fact of the matter is everybody's very preachy about sports, and I don't appreciate that because I think they all have to sit on their own. If you don't like them, don't watch them. But injuries are going to happen. Injuries are going to be part of every game. There's not a thing you can do about it. And to stand there and put even greater helmets on somebody or back braces or anything else is not going to stop any type of collisions from causing some problems. And
All right.
that's, yes.
All right, we got another caller here.
Another?
Yep.
Is it the same guy?
No, it's another caller.
All right.
It's not
right.
the same guy. This is Randy V. How you guys doing?
Hey, Randy.
We're doing
Sorry
good.
about that.
I was cruising around and I heard the word soccer come out of y'all's mouth, and I got to call in.
All right.
Oh, well,
we
okay.
have moved from talking about soccer in the third hour to the second hour.
We've
right.
moved
We're
it up to
making
the
fun
second
of
hour.
it.
That's because of you, Randy. But in truth, we weren't dissing on it, but we were just talking about
Yeah, head injuries.
the
Yeah.
head injuries. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know.
the United States Soccer Federation outlawed, I'd say it's outlawed, but it's not a crime by no means, but they certainly don't want kids, I think, under 10 heading the ball in the during the game. And I
Okay.
think even kids 11 to 13, I think there's only so many headers that they can actually do. And then above that, it's sort of game on right now. But clearly there is, there are head injuries in soccer. And, when that ball's coming at you with a velocity of 60, 70, 80 miles an hour in some cases, when you head that ball and you're only 10, 15 feet away, it rings your bell, that's for certain.
Right.
I'll tell you what, Randy, we appreciate you calling. You can call back after the break. We got to go into a break.
All right,
now.
going into the break. All right.
You're the man. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the call, pal.
Thank you, Randy.
Take care.
All right. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryant, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. They are located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we will be right back after these messages from our sponsors. And we are back in Red Zone Radio Sports here in WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And we were talking a little bit about soccer,
Yes.
and we were talking about concussions, and now I want to bring up another sad story.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, we got a caller, so let's see.
Let's do it. We appreciate, by the way, any calls. We've got our call on line is 352-315-1410. Always glad to have some callers. What do you got? Greg?
All right, Randy is
It's
back.
Randy.
Randy
V.
is
Yes,
back.
sir.
Good. Thanks, Randy.
Yeah, hey.
We were just picking up there where we left off.
Yes, sir. Yeah, with regards to concussions, but a lot of the concussions will stem from the quality of the ball that's purchased too, because there's some $10 soccer balls out there that are pretty hard if they're filled with air, and then there's some $40, $50 soccer balls that have a nice padding around it. Also has a little bit of a grippier feel, so when you strike it, you can put a curve on it. But definitely it's something that's being addressed by United States Soccer Federation. That's for certain.
How about and I'm not trying to get down on soccer, but I mean it's as great a sport as it is, and it's a lot of running. Are there? What about the knee injuries? Are you seeing? Is anybody trying to do anything about knee injuries, or is that just come
I
with
haven't
the
seen anybody out there do anything about knee injuries. Certainly, there are collisions out there on the field.
Sure.
And as you very well know, there's not much protection other in terms of shin guards out there.
Right. I was thinking
so-
maybe there was something where they were thinking about coming up with some kind of bracing or something, which would make it tough to run, to be sure.
It would make it very difficult to sprint down the field,
Yes.
certainly. And then also, when you go to strike the ball, you're just not toe poking it. You slice it or you cut it with the inside of your foot, so you can put a curve on, especially if you're trying to kick it from a set piece, just outside the goal or something
that
like that.
Bending
But,
it like Beckham?
Bending it
that?
like Beckham. Bending it like Beckham.
Bending it like Beckham.
That's right.
That's exactly
Bend
right.
it like Beckham.
Hey, there's a couple things. I wanted to call in, but hey, there's the Eustis High School girls softball team. Of course, just advanced to the state championship game.
Fantastic.
And down there, they're playing right now. Actually, I think the game started early this morning, maybe around 10 o'clock down there at the old. Is it Dodger? It's not Dodger Stadium.
You don't mean Vero Beach, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, it is Vero Beach. Okay, yeah. I guess it would be Dodger Stadium.
That is going on right now, and of course the back to soccer, the Villages Soccer Club. If you like local soccer, they are playing tonight in Lakeland.
Well, that's good news. I didn't know that. That's,
Yes,
Tiger
sir. If you can't
country.
make the trip down there, you can go. They live stream it on their website at www.villagesSC, short for soccerclub.com.
all right.
Nice.
Well, that's good. That's news we can use there, Randy.
We can get Coach Beal in after Eustis takes the state championship, and
we won't hold it against him if he comes in. If he's a finalist, we'll still have him come in.
well, yeah, absolutely.
But no, let's put our pom poms on and root for that, because I think that's fantastic. State championships are few and far between.
They certainly are. It's Class 5A state championship, and it was. I think they ended. I think only had one loss this season so far. Of course, obviously, if it gets to 2, they'll be out. But I think they went like 27-1 right now, and they're playing.
That's fairly dominant.
Yeah.
That is.
impressive.
That's. And from what I understand, in the semifinals anyway, it wasn't an easy road to get to the state championship, because I think they had to rally back a couple times.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Somewhat unfamiliar territory for them, but nonetheless, our Lake County girls pulled it out, and now they're at the big dance.
Well, that's how you prove in any sport, especially I think in soccer, will really be tough. The mettle of a team is especially good teams. All of a sudden they get down, and I've seen it. Where the game gets totally out of control because the team panics, and all of a sudden 2-0 becomes 4-0. But the teams that know how to rally and support each other and get it together can keep themselves in the game.
That's
and
it. I've seen it
4-0.
so many times where teams that are always on top. It's really easy to win.
It's easy to win. You're right.
And have that camaraderie when you're winning. But then all of a sudden they find themselves in unfamiliar territory and they're a little bit behind, and then they just start eating each other, and then it just falls apart like a house of cards.
Well, you've seen that happen.
Many times. It's unfortunate, but that's one of those beauties of life lessons that you can find on the sports field.
Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. There's lessons to be learned, and you got to rely on your teammates. That's one
correct.
If you think you can do it all yourself, you'll find out real fast that you're just creating more problems than you're solving.
That's it. Unless you're playing chess, you better figure out how to get along with your teammates.
And last I looked, even though when I do play chess, and I blame my teammate.
It's probably their fault anyway. But I just I heard you guys talking about soccer, and I wanted to call in and chime in a little bit about that, and then just talk about a couple things that were going on local with the girls Eustis Panthers going to the big dance here today. So hopefully they will come out of it, and we'll move on to.
Randy, God bless you. That is news we can use. Everybody got that information. I think that's fantastic. Thank you.
And,
So, all right, you guys.
and Randy, I'm sorry I didn't call in. I was listening to your show, and there was a Domino's pizza coupon, and I couldn't call in time to get it.
Oh, almost. Yeah, I think Robbie was. I think he ended up on top of that one. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he was hanging in there fighting a couple times with some phone calls, trying to get that Domino. So hopefully,
I hope there's one next week. I'll have to try to call in and get it.
there you go.
Hey, Randy, thanks for really adding to the show.
have
We
a-
appreciate all the information. And like I said, thanks for just expanding the conversation, because
Absolutely.
you're our soccer voice. We
All
stand
right,
there and
sir.
look at each other.
All right, buddy. You
Thanks,
guys have
pal.
a good
Take
day.
care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, sir.
That's Randy, the radio station's Randy, and he is, like I said, he is a committed soccer patron, and has done an awful lot of work with the players. I think what his son played, and also is playing college softball. I think am I right?
I think so.
I think so, which I think is fantastic. So I mean, so he's been there. He's been the long-suffering
He's
parent that
very knowledgeable about local sports.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because admittedly, I like to think I am, but I'm not.
Well,
So.
I'm not.
Yeah, so that's honest to God. But and where we were going, like I said, we've got baseball to talk about, and something in particular I wanted to mention. But did you have anything else cleaning up loose ends? You had another sports. You had another sad story.
Yeah, it's the Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, and they want to build a statue, or
Yeah.
I guess they are going to
Totally,
put up a statue.
totally inappropriate.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion,
And-
thought he was a great pitcher.
Well,
Also thought that his life ended very early,
sure. I mean, tragic.
tragically, and but all of the information I'm getting tells me that it should and could have been avoided.
Yeah. If he had survived that crash, he would have been charged with manslaughter.
Yeah,
That's
that's not.
and right now the two families of the victims are suing his estate.
Oh, I'm sure his estate's
Yeah.
going to get nailed.
And I look at, obviously it's sad his career cut short, but they when I hear them talking about his, how everybody loved him in South Florida, and then they project him as the future Hall of Famer.
Sure,
and stuff.
sure.
He only pitched 2 seasons.
Pitched 2
complete.
seasons, and one of the seasons he was injured for
Two
half of it.
seasons.
But the one was he injured in both?
Yeah.
Okay, because he had great numbers. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Well, he was 14-7 one year, and he won 19 or something.
He's 12-6.
Oh, okay.
He went 12-6, 4-2, 6-1, and 16-8.
Okay.
So last year was he was.
So he was. I
16-8.
knew he was close to the
Yeah. So he's got a terrific record at 38-17, but 2 more years of bad records, and nobody would remember his name.
Well,
And that's why, it just gets under my skin that you're going to laud a guy who was drunk and coked up,
yeah.
who killed 2 people, and you're going to what a slap in the face to the other 2 people.
Well,
in that vote.
they're going to. I think, unfortunately, that the courts will determine that. But yes, I don't. I think it's a mistake to laud the man. Tragic circumstances that I got to say it. I think he brought on himself.
Right.
And that doesn't make it less tragic in the sense that it was a tragedy.
Right.
But behind it, as far as bringing up memories and erecting statues, I'm not going there.
Right.
I can't see it. But that's me.
You look at, I'll bring up another guy, your favorite guy from Pittsburgh, Roberto Clemente.
Yeah.
They have a big statue of him.
Yeah. There's a big.
The man died in a.
He was doing Honduran relief.
Right.
He was trying to take supplies to him.
And that's worthy of a statue.
No, there's no question that's worthy of a statue. But if you do something, I'm trying to think, like Steve Prefontaine. Does everybody remember Steve Prefontaine?
Yeah.
He was an Olympic runner.
Right.
And they made movies about him. He was a good-looking guy, but I guess I think he got drunk and wrecked his car or something. And somebody wanted to erect a statue to him because he was a gold medalist. I said, but I guess that's okay. But what he did was he basically he had the world by the tail and didn't take care of himself.
Yeah. So.
But enough's enough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. If they can do what they want, and I'm not going to. If he is symbolic of something that I'm not able to relate to, okay, then I can buy. I'll buy it.
I guess I have to agree with you on that. I don't get it.
I don't get it, but I don't.
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But I don't get
that's
it.
exactly right. But it's a show, so we offer opinions.
Yep.
So that's what we do.
All right, so we got some Major League Baseball.
We got lots of Major League Baseball, and I wanted to tell you. Let me see. We're looking at, and this is before we get into the teams, and we are going to talk about all the individual teams that are doing well, the teams that aren't. But as I go through and I'm scanning really quickly with my eye here, the yesterday, okay, we had I guess there were 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 games. So that's 20 pitchers.
Right. Uh-oh, I don't even know where you're going with this one.
Outside of DeGrom, who pitched 7 innings,
Right?
not one other pitcher pitched more than 6 to start the game.
Wow. And can I digress?
Yes.
DeGrom loaded the bases in that 7th inning,
Yeah.
pitched out of it. That's just
Oh,
an
if they
aside.
if I'm pitching a shutout and I walk a couple guys and here comes the manager out to take me out, I'd say, you take a hike.
Right,
I said, we haven't won many games this year.
right.
You can go in there and let me get
He
it.
pitched a great game.
Yes,
But go
he
ahead,
did.
So finish your
But well, the point I'm saying, and there was still, there was only one. The Severino pitched 5 innings for the Yankees, and they pull him, and they were leading.
he was he
Did he get hurt?
Yeah.
Okay,
He
then
was- his
well, that will
He
counterbalance my argument. But
it wasn't that he got hurt. He actually pitched in those 5 innings like 90 pitches.
yeah,
and he
7
had, his
strikeouts,
hand
3
w-
walks.
His
Yeah.
hand was bothering him.
Blisters or
Or
something.
I don't know exactly.
Okay, well that I understand, but like I said, these other guys, like I said, Kansas City, Carnes pitches 5 innings, gives up 1 run, 3 strikeouts, no walk. He gets pulled, they lose to the Twins. I mean, they when he left, they were up 3-1,
Right.
and I think if I'm a pitcher, I get real mad.
Yeah.
I think I can't pitch more than 5 innings. You got to be kidding me. But that seems to what that's what they do. Nolasco pitching for the Dodgers pitched 6 against DeGrom, 4 hits, 1 earned run,
Right.
out. I mean, it's I understand. Martinez 5 innings for it's starting to whittle down to 6. 6 is the I guess that's thank you, Tony La Russa. He pitched 6 innings. Your setup man for the setup man comes in the 7th. Then your setup man comes in the 8th. Then your closer comes
Right.
in the 9th.
And so now 6, is that going to be the new QS? I know you love
Yeah.
the
Quality start. I think 6. I think now we keep lowering the bar.
Yeah.
Now if you put 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, quality start. Your ERA is 6, but we're going to give you a quality start on that one. So that's great. But that's just something I wanted to sound off on. Like I said, let's review the teams because there's as many teams surprising. Let's talk about the surprising good teams. And the surprising good teams is we are 1/4 of the way through the this I didn't see coming from 8,000 miles away. A quarter through the season, Minnesota's in first place.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Right.
With that team, unbelievable.
Yep.
They just came back and beat the Royals. They were losing 3-1, and they came back and scored 2 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, and beat the Royals. That's the one where they pulled that Carnes guy after 5 innings. The Milwaukee Brewers, you got to be kidding me. The Milwaukee Brewers are in first place ahead of St. Louis and Chicago in the Central Division of the National League with a lineup that you would gag. But they brought this Thames guy who was over in Europe, I guess. He's back, and he's there. He's been the catalyst behind their whole team. But I defy you to name one starting person in their lineup. You can't. You wouldn't know who they are.
Hernandez.
No, that's a good guess. That and Fernando Garcia, they're
Yeah.
good guesses.
Yeah.
That was a cheap attempt.
Darn.
But
Yeah.
you missed it, but that's
I
okay.
was trying to show off how smart I am.
If you would have
That
come
fired.
up with a Santana,
Ah,
you'd have
okay.
pulled it off, but you didn't. So you got Milwaukee in first place. You got Colorado
Yeah.
in first place. I can't believe they're going to stay in there.
I
the-
can't either.
Their pitching staff just isn't going to let them do it. Now, I know they got a big field. I know they got to get some good sticks. But they are turning the corner. But that's just, to me, that's phenomenal that that they're that dominant.
How about those Texas Rangers?
The Texas Rangers are, they're what are they, 6.5 back at Houston?
Yeah, but they've won 10 in a row.
I know. Remember their start?
Yeah.
Their start was a putrid. I had to look because I knew
Yeah.
they'd been having success lately. But
It-
10 in a row, it will straighten you out real quick.
And the sad thing is, during that stretch, Houston has gone 8-2, so you really didn't pick up a lot of games.
Well,
there.
it's still, but Houston's not going to. They're 6.5 back.
No.
I wouldn't worry about it.
No.
But and the Indians are in second place. Detroit's right behind them. A lot of these divisions are going down to the wire. New York, Baltimore, Boston. That's going to be a dogfight. Although I really like the Yankees.
Yeah.
I really like what they've developed in terms of a complement of youth with some veteran players. They got the Gregorius back, and I keep an eye on them. They could be a 98 win team.
Yeah, they could be.
So go for that.
All right. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryant, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we'll be back to talk in this last segment about some baseball. I think we probably got all our rants out of the way at the beginning of the show, so we're going to devote the last segment here to Major League Baseball and maybe, what were you going to say, Bob?
No, I was going to say maybe a rant.
Okay. We'll be right back after these messages. And we are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, and we are talking MLB.
Talking baseball, and we were talking about the teams that were coming out of the blocks, and actually it's not out of the blocks anymore. We're a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah.
Boy, is this season flying by. But just quickly recapping American League East, you got the Yanks and the Orioles neck and neck with Boston coming up right behind them. Great division. I don't see Toronto or Tampa Bay doing anything, and Toronto would be one of my teams that I don't know if it's a surprise because they're very old and they lost a lot of sticks.
Right.
They're 18-24, and I just don't think that they're that good a team anymore. So
And
we'll see what happens.
You have Jose Batista with his shenanigans.
The bat flip. You know what? I don't understand the big deal. Next time he comes up, put one in his teeth, and
Well, that's
how you do it, right?
that's-
But to stand there and discuss it
Well,
is silly to me.
That's the debate.
There's
should
no debate.
ma-
There's no
Well,
debate.
does Major League Baseball is thinking about coming down harder on pitchers who throw at batters?
Well, the fact of the matter is, how can you prove it? The fact of the matter
Well,
is,
if you hit somebody, it's not going to be something that
the
they have to
batters are
prove.
diving into the
Sure,
pitches.
absolutely.
You can't tell me that that's a problem.
I don't
mean,
disagree with you.
yeah, the batters are standing there and hugging them.
Right.
They're wearing. They look like they're going to fight in ancient Rome. Good
Right.
grief! They come in with arm pads and shields and armor and everything else,
Right.
and then they stand there and face gear. Where they
Right.
have your faces all protected. And then the pitch comes in, they stick their face out in front of
Right.
the plate, and I think,
Right.
what's wrong with this
Well,
picture?
one thing, I think there's a difference with Batista for me is that he's on a last place team. Just drop your bat and run around the bases with your head down.
No, that those days are gone. You got to sell
know?
tickets.
Well, I don't buy a ticket to watch him, toss his bat in a cool way.
Why
if you wanna
not?
say that, but the
What
fact,
else are you going to watch?
The fact of the matter is, you're 18-25. Your team is in last place. They stink. Hit the home runs, drop the bat, and put your head down, and run around.
Be
the
happy
bases.
about it. Yeah, but don't act like, yeah, look at that.
Right.
Yeah,
You didn't hit the game-winning home run in the 7th game of the World Series.
no, you hit a home run to get your team. Now you're only losing by 5.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't. I agree with you. But by the same token, I'm old school. Here's the deal: flip your bat, strut around the bases, and maybe not next time I pitch against you, but one of the next 2 or 3 times, and you'll be up against me again.
Right.
You're going to get one right at your nose,
Right.
and see how you handle it. And I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. I have something. There's a problem with the next time you're up.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball behind you. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But there's a time and a place.
Right.
And nobody can ever say, well, that was a retaliation, because you can say, no, it wasn't. In fact, that was 2 months ago.
Right.
And after they leave, you go, damn right, that was a retaliation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think of a guy who flips a bat way up in the air and struts around the bases while now they're only losing by 4.
Right.
But so that's that division. I said we got Minnesota, Chicago and Kansas City. I know Kansas City. I just don't think they have the bats. It's going to be Cleveland, Minnesota. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're a quarter of the way through. Plus, they're playing that Sano at third base.
Right.
That guy drives me crazy, but that's okay. And then you got Houston and Texas trying to stay on top of things, but Houston's got the best record in baseball by far.
Yeah.
And you look at their lineup and you go, really? But hey, let's give them, hats off to them. That's fantastic. Even though Cleveland beat them, take a look at their lineup: Springer, Reddick, Gonzalez, Altuve. I think somebody told me he got hurt.
Yeah,
But,
it was
not a big deal.
No.
They got McCann catching. Carrillo is pretty good at short. I'm sorry, that still doesn't hit me like a world-class lineup.
Right.
That's 29 and 13, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So good for them. National League, as a quick reminder, the Nationals are making a farce of the East Division.
Well,
the Mets,
they lost 3 in a row. And
well, they aren't playing well now,
Right.
but they're still. Atlanta is second place. Atlanta and New York. I still think the Mets will get this thing turned around.
I don't.
But the other teams aren't very good.
No.
I didn't think Miami was going to be that bad. They're 14 and 26. That's
Right.
really bad. I didn't see that coming. But again, in the Central, they forget Pittsburgh, forget Cincinnati. Cincinnati's lost 7 in a row. But Chicago, St. Louis, and Milwaukee are fighting it out. You can't tell me Milwaukee's going to finish about 500. Sorry, folks. They just don't have a team that's good enough to do that.
Right.
So it'll be St. Louis
What-
and Chicago.
And what's the deal with Chicago?
Chicago's just not getting the dominant pitching.
Right.
Now, they pitched some guy named Butler yesterday. I wouldn't know Butler if I fell over him.
Right.
But he, 5 walks in 3 innings. He lost. So, but right now they're not hitting the ball either. Schwarber's batting 182.
Right.
They're just not getting it done. Rizzo batting 224. Zobrist 224. That's just not good enough. And like I said, then you go in. L.A. looks to me like the team to beat, but Colorado and Arizona are right there. In fact, Colorado's ahead of them. Here's my question. The Giants are they just collapsed. I don't understand.
Well, they lost their best hitter and
Well-
best pitcher.
Well, that'll do it.
It's
They
the
lost
same guy.
Baumgartner. That's right. And it was a dirt bike thing, so
Yeah.
obviously it had a lot to do with baseball.
Yeah.
So, but there's a perfect example how a team loses their star player, and there's a ripple effect, and you can't do anything about it. It's, but it is that bad. But there's what you've got going. But one thing I noticed, and I want you to address this if you can,
All right.
because I find it fascinating. There is not in the National League anyhow. In the American League, still, in the National League, there is no home field advantage.
No.
Here, Central Division. Here's all the team. Milwaukee's 12-11 at home. St. Louis 11-11. Chicago 10-10. Cincinnati 12-11. Pittsburgh 10-9. That's not a home field advantage.
Right.
That's 500. You go to let's see. Naturally, outside of Washington, Atlanta's 7-9. Mets are 9-12. Philly's 8-8. And Miami's 6-14. I mean, it's just it's not getting it done. Colorado 13-6, San Francisco 11-10, San Diego 8-12. Now LA, of course, is they're 14-6, but they got a great record, 18-8 for Arizona. Good grief, Arizona's played like 2/3 of their games at home already, so they're gonna have to. They better be ready when they get on the road.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know. It's not that way in the American League. American League still is very, very dominant, although. The Central Division, where they're all 500, 10-12. No, there's only 11-9. Detroit's got the best home record, 11-9. Kansas City 12-11.
Right.
But West Division, everybody's got a winning record at home, and in the East Division, everybody but Toronto's got a big winning record at home. Baltimore 13-3 for crying out loud. Toronto
has a winning record at home?
Yeah, they're 10-11. I'm sorry. Toronto is the losing record at home.
Yeah.
They're 10-11. I'm sorry. But everybody else is cleaning up in that division at home. But the bottom line is National League, I'd say it's we have 13-11. 9 of the 13 teams have losing records. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Never used to be that way in baseball. It used to be you got the chance to bat last, you do well. But, hey, maybe that's because of the setup man and the setup man and the setup man for the setup man.
Right.
But like I said, that's my take on it. I am very, very, very perturbed with baseball getting back to a dead horse, but trying to change things.
Yeah.
You're going to make it worse. You're going to make it worse. You're going to make it worse.
Well,
Play baseball.
I was watching the Yankee Tampa Bay game.
Last night?
Yeah, and I don't know who the announcer was. Tampa Bay. Was it? Yeah, it was a Tampa Bay station. The
Well, they have Orestes Destrada used to do some stuff. He played for the Pirates for a couple of years, but he's been doing some stuff for them. I don't know if that was him.
But he came up with a really good point, because there was a late in the game, and I don't remember who was up at bat. It's really not the point. He hits the ball, and it does a short hop underneath the third baseman's glove, and it goes for a double. I think it's RBI double or whatever. And the guy brings up a good point. I think he was the count was like 2-2 or something when he, and they're talking about the strikeouts. Strikeouts matter. You know, in the sabermetrics, strikeouts don't matter. They say outs and out. No, putting the ball into play is when stuff happens.
Yes.
When you strike out, the ball is in play.
In play, I agree.
And it was a great point. You know, it's like if he had struck out, whatever. But he put the ball in play. It probably should have. They didn't give the guy an error, but it clearly was an error.
Yeah.
And
that's
the ball,
another right.
The ball was in play. He misplayed it. It went for a double, an RBI double. You know, so it's like get the ball in play.
Yeah. Well,
And thank you, Billy Bean, for that nonsense.
Well, but you're right. Getting the ball in play but it's interesting. You bring that up because I want to talk about. I know it changes from park to park, from city to city, from league to league, but there is no consistency to the official scoring, and it drives me crazy. There are homers that are official scores. Don't let homers. Get somebody who doesn't. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I see. The pitcher's got to be going crazy. I saw 4 hits conceded to Boston. I forget who they were playing.
Right.
They weren't hits.
Yeah, the one last night with Torres, who the ball, he misplayed it.
If it's misplayed, it's an error.
Yeah, and they gave him a double, and it was was it a tough play? Yes. But he stepped in at short hop. He did the stepping in, and
if he caught it cleanly with the guy been out,
yes,
then that's an error. I mean, I'm sorry. Sometimes they're tough to get.
Right.
Sometimes they're easy to get. But the fact of the matter is that's the rub of the green. So you got to do that. I get frosted when somebody hits a fly ball and outfielders converge on it. And they both call it, and at the last second they let it drop,
right?
And they give the guy double. No.
Right.
No, that's a pop up to the outfield.
Right.
That's not a hit.
Right.
But the official will score. Well, nobody touched it.
Right.
But I watched it.
Yeah.
Nobody touched it, but it's like
throwing
the ball to you. It's like me throwing your car keys to you and you drop them. I mean, you can't. You got to catch that.
Right.
And now the pitcher has to be the one that gets penalized on his statistics if that guy scores.
Yeah.
Because it goes down in the park as a double hit off the wall. Oh, it was a stinking lousy pop up to the second baseman.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that just drives me
and
crazy.
here's another thing, because they have always talked about adding this team error. Like, so in a situation like that would be a team.
Yeah, we
error.
don't want to hurt. You don't like Pedro. We don't want to hurt, Spanky's chance for a Gold Glove or Sparky.
Right.
Sparky's better than
Yeah,
Spanky. But I would have still or Pedro. But the fact of the matter is, well, if we give him an error, that's going to hurt his chance for the Gold Glove.
Right. Who cares?
But hey, that's his 48 games he's played without an error.
Right.
Not if you're the official scorer, he's going to go through the whole year without making one because he's dropped about 10 balls already.
And I know it's a tough call, like for somebody to score that. I think but you got to do it. It's part of being a scorer. It's part of the. It's like
if the ball's hit to you,
yes,
you're supposed to catch it.
That's right.
I don't care if it's hit hard
because it's somebody somebody's calling it and somebody's not paying attention. They're both calling it, and then they both stop. So it's an error. Maybe you give it an error on both of them. I don't know.
I
don't like the team error concept.
We don't want to single out
Right.
Pedro for dropping the ball.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm glad to hear you say
Well,
that.
another one that kind of bothers me is the guy that runs the ball down to the wall, and it pops out of his glove, and even though it's a really tough, and they give the guy like a double, it's like, dude, you had it in your glove. You should have caught it. It's not.
No, that's how they do it.
Because if you do it 10 feet away from the wall, it's clearly an error. But if you do it against the wall, then you get the double. It's like,
Well, no, you make a good point. But the fact of the matter is that but that's the good part. I don't mind that. They won't fix that.
Right.
I mean, I'll bellyache about it. That wasn't a hit.
Right.
That's not something that we have to legislate, is
Right.
what I'm saying.
Yes.
But I always get a kick out of the fact that I got a couple of them in high school where you pop the ball up in the outfield, throw your bat down disgustedly, and halfway run to first base, and then the guy doesn't catch it.
Yeah.
And your manager's mad at you for not being a second. And
Right.
I thought the guy was good enough he'd catch it. Not Pete Rose.
Right.
But any fly ball that's hit.
But it does amaze me how often that happens.
Oh, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
I can't believe, these guys slam down the bat and they're angry and
On ground balls to the infield, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the guy throws it away or
Right.
tosses it high.
Right.
And the first baseman has to leap up in the air to catch it. Meanwhile, you're not at the base because you're throwing a temper tantrum.
Right.
But interestingly enough, I think that's baseball will survive just fine with its insufficiencies and its
Yeah.
official scoring.
Right.
But
I don't know if they'll survive wars and
that being the case, it's like I said, we can see a quarter of the way. The season just blew by. It's not over, but good grief, we're 1/4 of the way through.
I know.
And
May already.
nobody's doing anything. I'm trying to think if we have any pitchers that are alarmingly dominant now.
No.
I think Kershaw has 7 wins. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's averages out to 28 for all you math majors.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of another great show. Thank you, Mr. Weltman.
I appreciate.
It was a
I
blast.
know you're totally objective when you say that. I appreciate that.
It is. I am.
That was fun. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County, sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And we thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same